How you doing, guys? Welcome. It's Friday. I hope you've got the Friday feeling. It's 1:30 here in the UK, so we are getting close to the weekend, and that always gets me excited because I love the weekends because I know I'm going to be some good stuff done with the family, but I'm also going to have some undisturbed time to work on my business, do my strategy Saturday, always do my blog on a Sunday. I look forward to this kind of stuff because it keeps me accountable to my diary because I know I'm going to get those things done. And that brings me on nicely to what I want to talk about today, guys. And let's make this a pretty quick one today, just to try and help you guys out there, you entrepreneurs, you budding entrepreneurs, people are perhaps thinking of starting their own business, or people that are in the early stages, or maybe you've been running your business for a while and you just lost your mojo a bit. That can happen. Even people who have been in business as long as I have, you can sometimes lose your motivation. And what I like to do, my job is to try and remind us of the things that are going to help us become successful, stay successful, achieve sustainable success. Because quite often when you're in business, especially when you've been in business as long as I have, it can be a bit of a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down. And the key to sustainable success is forming habits that you stick to. That means that you can build on your former successes, and building those habits is so key. And in order to make sure that you stick to those habits, having accountability is one of the key things that's going to help you stay there. Because if we are only accountable to ourselves, it's so much easier to fall off the wagon. It's so much easier to end up deciding not to follow through, not to actually be productive with those tools that we know are going to achieve success. I know myself looking, I've been in business over 20 years. And I say this a lot to people I coach. It's really easy for me to look back and see where I had a dip in my success. I wasn't following the best practice. I forgot to do some of the things that I should have been doing that I know achieve success. Whereas when you're consistent with the tools, with the actions that achieve success, you can build on it. The key way of making you keep to those tools, to keep to those actions, is to have accountability. Now, accountability comes in many different ways. For me, the first place that it starts is with my diary, being accountable to my diary. I talk about this a lot with you guys that I coach, with Bland Partners. Being accountable to your diary, making your diary your boss, putting in those repeat actions to know that you've got an appointment with yourself that's as important as if it's with your top client or with the best prospect that you've got. As important, it's rigid, it's set in stone, and you make sure you're attending. So your diary rules your day. And what we always say, guys, is we don't want white space in a diary. We want to actually fill in that space. If you've got blank space in your diary, your job is to fill it with actions that are going to achieve success. Whether that might be the obvious stuff like prospecting or appointments or presentations, that kind of stuff, but also with the repeatable stuff, the things like, your own personal education, exercise, even, I've said this a few times to you guys, even as much as putting when you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morning in your diary. We all set an alarm in the morning, or most of us do, for when we actually want to wake up. And from that minute onwards, when you wake up with the alarm, you're then accountable to your diary. So, your morning routine is the first way that you do that. And then you follow on through the day. And when you've got an appointment with your best prospect or your top client, you're not going to miss that appointment. And you've got to think about all the other things that you put in the diary as important as that. So the time that you're doing your prospecting, you've got to be accountable to that diary. The time that you're doing the stuff for your own mindset, your education, even if you're putting time in the diary that you spend with your family, or some people even put time in the diary when they're going to be doing social media, or when like I do that on a Friday morning. That's what I just cropped in my head on Friday morning, social media. Or it could be spending time watching telly even. You diarize it, you're accountable to your diary, you form the habits for success. Now, the next step on for that is having an accountability partner or person. So you could have a coach, for example. So some of the people I coach, so you Bland Partners out there, and other entrepreneurs that I coach, you are accountable to me. The first thing that we start with at the beginning of our session is the numbers. You need to be accountable to the numbers, and the numbers are whatever the actions are in your business that you know are repeatable tasks that will lead to you having a success, need to be measured. And my clients, my partners, are accountable to me on those numbers as the first part of the coaching session. Now, I'll tell you what can happen, guys, and this is something that that I wanted to bring up today. Occasionally, the people that I'm coaching will make an excuse, and they'll say they don't want to turn up to the session, or they want to have a number of weeks off. And this is because they're either not hitting their numbers, they feel stressed about having that accountability. It's stressing them out to actually think, I've got to achieve these numbers, and they're worried if they're not achieving them. They feel insecure about divulging those numbers, and then it can end up being a form of anxiety. Now, that in itself says a lot about the accountability side of things, because when people start to feel worried about having that accountability, it means that they're either not doing the actions or they're not getting the results. And that's why the accountability is there. From my part, there's no judgment. I'm not going to chastise somebody. I'm not going to tell them off. But I know that having that appointment set in stone, whether you have achieved the results or done the actions or not, having that accountability is going to make you achieve more than if you didn't have it, because it's easy to keep putting it off. So find yourself a coach. It keeps you accountable to the numbers, and be prepared to actually have difficult conversations, to find ways to improve, and know that every time you turn up, it's not going to be good news. It's absolutely fine to turn up and say, do you know what, I didn't hit my numbers, because that's why the coach is there, to figure out why, to help, and to keep moving forward. Now, you don't have to do it with a coach like me. You can do it with a friend, a member of the family, or even if you're a Bland partner, for example, you could buddy up with another Bland partner and be accountable to each other. Because particularly in the Bland Partnership Program, you're out there selling websites, apps, social media, SEO, etc. The tasks that you undertake that are a part of the certification program that we produce, these tasks are consistent no matter where you are in the world. There's a certain amount of tasks that you undertake that you have to do in order to achieve the results. And so having a buddy that you can partner up with, that you can be accountable to. And I started doing this many, many years ago, way before I was running Blam, where I had an accountability partner, and we used to do it on a spreadsheet back then. I'm talking sort of over 10 years ago. I used to do this, and I'd keep an account of my calls, my appointments, my deals, my learning, my audible listening, which is part of the thing, exercise, all the stuff that's on what we used to call our cookbook, which is now Blamability for the Blam partners. A list of all of these things. And on a Friday afternoon, Joe, the guy who was my accountability partner, we used to do a phone call. We used to get the spreadsheet up, and we used to talk through our numbers. Now, that was when I first started to realize that when Joe said he couldn't make the call, that he was feeling embarrassed, and he was feeling dejected, and he didn't want to admit to me that he hadn't hit his numbers, and he didn't always turn up to the call. The key is, guys, you've got to show up. You've got to be accountable. Even if you're not hitting your numbers, the point is that you're there to improve. You're there to find ways that you can. And by having that accountability partner, does encourage you more to hit your numbers, but it also gives you somebody to talk to discuss why you may or may not be hitting your numbers. And it's tough, guys, actually putting yourself out there and saying, I've not hit my numbers, but actually admitting it and talking about it can only be a good thing. So I talk, about being brave. You've got to be brave in business, and being brave means stepping up and saying, do you know what? I haven't hit my targets. I didn't hit my numbers. These are the reasons. How can I improve for the next week? So accountability, guys, think about it in your business. Think about who you can use for an accountability partner. And remember, it all starts with accountability to your diary. Your diary is your absolute boss. When you're in business on your own, you've not got somebody cracking the whip. It's all down to you. And we have to use the tools that increase our productivity, keep us accountable, build the best habits, and achieve the success that we're all looking for. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate your comments in the feed below, whichever medium you're looking on. Let me know what you think about accountability. Any Bland partners that are watching, I have got a little bit of space for a couple more elite coaching. If some of you want to come onto my accountability program and you are a Bland partner, it's once every 2 weeks. We do a 20-minute session, keep you accountable to the numbers. All you've got to do is send me a WhatsApp, let me know that you're interested, and we'll have a chat about it. It's one of the favorite things that I do, guys. One of the favorite things that I do is coaching Bland partners. It's kind of my main job. It's what I love doing, and I particularly love it when I see people starting to get results. Doesn't happen overnight, guys, but consistency is key. Accountability is a massive part of the jigsaw puzzle. So let me know, guys, if you want to find out more. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take care.